Welcome to 5280's 2020 Top of the Town event. I'm Katie LaSalle with Denver 7.
And I'm Spencer Campbell with 5280 Magazine. And tonight we'll be your tour guides through an hour-long celebration of the very best that Denver has to offer.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I know it's a whole lot different than years past. We've turned this virtual, but it doesn't mean it's going to be any less fun. We have a huge evening planned for the next hour that includes cooking, cocktail demos. We'll have a live interview with Denver Mayor Michael Hancock. We'll get to go to the zoo. We'll hear from the symphony. It's going to be fun. So thank you so much for tuning in, and a big thank you to our sponsors. We want to thank Citywide Banks, Prestige Imports, Vitalent, Larimer Square, The Kitchen, Next Door, Portillo Wines, Denver 7, Occasion Caterings. Don't want to miss anyone. We have this wonderful set brought to us by Max and Livy. Plus, none of this would be possible without Stream Tech Productions, who's making this live streaming a thing of a reality right now.
Absolutely, but before we get to tonight's many wonderful events, and I know we're all raring to go for that, let's take a minute to look back. 5280 first published their Top of the Town Awards in 1997, and shortly thereafter, we started hosting and celebrating all of those winners, and there's been thousands up to this point through an in-person party. From those very meager beginnings, it's grown into a landmark Denver social event with thousands of people turning out for food from the best restaurants, live entertainment, and deliciously dangerous cocktails. And that last year's event at Larimer Square, it might have been the best one yet.
That was such a special evening. So many people had so much fun, but it doesn't mean we're not going to have just as much fun this year.
I know. Looking at that, I'm nostalgic. I miss the food and the beautiful cars, but I got to be very honest, I really miss that open bar.
Hey, I mean, I will say, yes, I do miss all that too, but 200 of our audience members actually got this gifted to them. Ta-da! That was a nice presentation.
Thank you.
There.
I know my role here.
We have this 5280 Top of the Town box. It's filled with a bottle of wine from Portillo Wines. There's snacks, there's popcorn. There's also all the things you need to make that perfect cocktail at home right now.
Absolutely, and because no good 5280 party can start without a great cocktail, go ahead and crack those boxes open and pour out or take out those cocktail fixings. Because our best new bar this year, Honey Elixir, is about to take you and show you how they make what is their trademark cocktail, a spin on the bee's knees, going way back there. And as you are stirring up your cocktail, remember to tag at 5280scene or hashtag 5280
TOTT.
That's right. So get on that right now, show us your pictures, and we will be sure to post them later on when we have a bit of a dance party.
Every detail of our space was carefully considered to facilitate conversation and connection. It's cozy, it's captivating, it's fine details. Everywhere you look, there's something to find. My name is Jo Casta Hansen, and I am owner, operator, and visionary of Honey Elixir Bar. Honey isn't just a bar. There's a lot more going on here, and so we have to offer more options for people. So somebody coming into Honey could get a non-alcoholic beverage, they could get something that was not quite so alcoholic, and something totally a regular mixed craft cocktail. People are re-evaluating their relationship with alcohol, and some people don't want to drink alcohol at all, and some people still want to enjoy alcohol, but in a much more conscious manner. And so for us, we're bringing in healthy components to cocktails. So our pantry behind our bar is extensive. Not only do we use honey and herbs, we use superfoods, we make our own vegan milks for drinks, infinite options to incorporate unique ingredients into our cocktails. My philosophy is like taking classics because they're already so perfect as they are, and incorporating a unique to honey ingredient or two in the recipe. So the Be Grateful is a staple on our menu. We will always have an iteration of the bee's knees, and this one in particular is in honor of the 2 million flowers that it takes to create a pound of honey. This one is beautifully floral while not being overbearing. And so we infuse Japanese cherry blossom gin with chamomile, and we use California orange blossom honey syrup, and fresh lemon juice and Bolivar bitters, which is made from jasmine. And you shake that up and pour it in a glass and serve it with a lemon wheel and a fresh lavender sprig. It's our most popular beverage. It's bright, it's easy drinking, and you can hardly taste that there's any booze in it, but there is. I think that wellness has become commodified, and that it's kind of like this trending word. And for honey, it's deeper than that. We look at wellness not only from ingredients and nutrition, but also how you're taking care of all of the aspects of your health, and that's mental, emotional, social, physical, and really looking at how a bar can help support all of those. Once things start to normalize, we really will be focusing on our offerings for community, and that is in workshops, musical events, teachings, support groups. I know the power of being together and learning in groups and healing in groups and dialoguing in groups, and I don't believe there are enough spaces for that. I believe that no matter the protocols or regulations, I think that honey will be a crucial piece in allowing people to safely come together and have a healthy beverage while still maintaining whatever distance we have to, but still being together, because that is one of the most healing things that all of us need. Winning Top of the Town was a ray of sunshine. I was in the process of trying to reopen, and it was really hard. And I got the phone call, and it literally shifted everything in that exact moment. It just gave me hope, and it reminded me that honey is appreciated and necessary and worthy of all of the work. In our 3 short months of business, we somehow won Best New Bar. And that's completely unexpected and like so awesome, because I feel like people get it. This new offering of a different bar culture. People are receptive and ready for something different.
Citywide is a great partner. They are collaborative. They're there to help you problem solve what you need. They're committed to providing solutions to solve your problems.
We know Citywide is already large enough to handle the size of our business, and it's large enough to handle the future size of our business as we grow.
We're building a bank that can help move Colorado forward, that can help support our businesses and allow them to grow with our expanding economy.
Man, that place is gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah, and if that didn't inspire you to make a cocktail or a mocktail at home, I mean, what will, right?
I know, but now I just miss bars in general, not just open bars.
Same.
Well, obviously we're all here because we love Denver, but how much about Denver do you really know?
Well, Spencer has been so kind to create a series of trivia questions for all of us to test our insider knowledge and really see where we stand. So, Spencer, take it away.
That's right, worked long and hard on this, so you can play along in the chat box at the bottom of your screen just by voting for the right answer, because it's multiple choice. So, Katie, you do have a shot here.
Okay, all right.
Although they're very challenging. Are you ready for the first?
I think so.
All right, so Denver's founders didn't actually own the claim to the land here, the land that we currently are, well, a few floors above. My question is, how did they convince that company, the St. Charles Town Company, to hand over the deed? Did they, A, bribe him with a barrel of whiskey, B, bribe him with an ounce of gold, or C, bribe him with an ounce of OG Kush?
Okay, so whiskey, gold, or Kush. 3 very Colorado bribes.
Absolutely. I think you could go either way. So start thinking.
All right, because you're not going to tell us the answer yet, right?
Absolutely not. You got to hold off on this one.
Okay.
Build the suspense.
Yeah, right. In the meantime, we want to get to food. I mean, one of these top of the town parties would not be complete without some really awesome dining options. And from the kitchen, the culinary director there, Michael Bertozzi, he has been so kind to show us the perfect way to sear a halibut.
Hi, I'm Chef Michael Bertozzi, Culinary Director of the Kitchen Restaurant Group. Today we're going to be showing you how to properly sear and baste bone-in halibut steaks with brown butter and white ponzu. So first we have our bone-in halibut steaks. You can find these at Whole Foods currently. This is Pacific halibut, and what's great about these steaks is they are bone-in. So the bone provides the steak with a little bit of moisture in the cooking process, and you'll see different cuts of this. So you'll see the backbone all the way through the halibut, and then some that lack that kind of backbone coming through, but they will provide that same amount of moisture. This is basically, they just take the fish, instead of filleting it off the bone, they just cut all the way across, so you do get that nice, rich fillet, skin on, of course. And then we're going to go into our ingredients for our white ponzu. Right here we have hondashi. Hondashi flake is basically the base for dashi, which is a Japanese stock that's very simple. Gives a great oceanic brine, a little bit of umami and richness to our sauce. You can find this at any Asian market. Then we have some red chili flake. Some white soy. The difference between white soy and regular soy is this one is heavier on wheat. So if you do have a gluten allergy or celiac, this is one you're going to want to avoid. But you'll notice it's a lighter in color, and that's because there's less soybean to wheat in that brew. And then we have our citrus. So we have 2 limes, 2 lemons, and 4 oranges, and some chives that will all go into that white ponzu. What's great about this sauce is it can be made days in advance. And honestly, the longer it sits, the more that flavor develops. It's a great one to put on any grilled fish, sushi, shrimp. Really is a versatile sauce. Next, we're going to need about 1/4 cup of chopped chives. So we're going to take these thick stems off. You always want to tuck your fingers back so we don't get the ends of our fingers while we're cutting our chives. Make sure your knife is sharp so you're cutting all the way through the chives, and you're not really mashing them, you're actually cutting through. You want nice tubes. When I was a line cook, I used to have a chef that would tell me, I want tubes, no tails. So when they stay connected, those are your tails. Definitely not something you want in your sauce. So we got our chopped chives, we're going to add those in. Give this a nice little stir to mix everything together. So we're going to start our pan. We have a French cast iron pan over about medium-high heat. Want to get that pan nice and hot. We're going to add in some neutral oil. I'm using sunflower oil, but grapeseed oil or sunflower oil will work best. You want an oil with a high flash point or a high smoke point, meaning it can handle high heat without burning and getting that kind of acrid flavor. You definitely want to avoid something like olive oil that burns very quickly. So we're going to season our fish pretty liberally on both sides. Once that oil starts to shimmer, you know your pan's hot enough. So we're going to place our steak in. Definitely hear that sizzle as it starts to go. We're going to let that sit on medium-high heat. And what we're looking for is what you'll start to notice is the skin will start to get a little golden brown along the edges, and we don't want to make our flip until that happens. We're going to gently press down on our fish. We're ensuring that all sides and all parts of that cut side are getting caramelized and browning up nicely. You probably take about 3 minutes total to get to that nice golden brown. So we just want to let that sit there. Don't adjust your heat. Just let it keep going. And after we take it off this burner, we're going to let it go into a 400-degree oven. And since this fillet is a little bit thinner, we'll probably only take about 3 minutes in the oven before we pull it out and start basting the fish. Starting to see those edges get a little bit golden brown on the skin. I always like to keep the white side of the belly kind of towards me so I can see that it's starting to get a little brown, a little golden brown. Kind of tough to see from this angle. You'll see once we make that flip, go into the oven. You really want to give it enough time to brown up and caramelize. That way the fish will release very easily from the pan. You shouldn't have to struggle to get it to release from the pan. We're gently going to flip our fish. See that nice golden brown crust? Into the oven we go. So we've got our fish out of the oven. The next thing we're going to do, we've got it back over that medium heat. We're going to add in a good amount of butter. We're going to let that butter melt and start browning up. Brown butter has like a real nutty flavor to it, so you want to let that butter kind of cook down and let the milk fat start to caramelize, get that nice nutty flavor to them. Really going to help the flavor of our fish. Now we're going to add in some of our white ponzu, about 2 tablespoons, and start basting our fish. You'll notice as you keep basting over this heat, the sauce kind of thickens up and gets kind of a viscous. That's not a problem. You just want to keep moving, not let that sauce burn. So kind of tilt your pan back so that sauce all runs back to the well, and you can keep basting. We're going to baste for about 2 to 3 minutes on this fillet. All right, I'm going to remove that from the heat. Let it rest in that juice for a second. Maybe one more baste right over top. Get some of those herbs and chili flake over it. I'm going to plate our fish right there in the center. Of course, we don't want any of that great sauce to go to waste. Just kind of swirl it around so it doesn't break. And ladle a little bit more over. What's great about this dish is it can be served with chilled noodles, charred sugar snap peas. The possibilities are really endless. Even a good fried rice would go great with this.
Chef Bertozzi, thank you so much. That looks deliciously mouth-watering. I hope you got some tips. Usually when I try to replicate something like that at home, it doesn't always turn out the same way, but thank you so much for sharing with us now.
It does look amazing, I agree, but now on to even more important things.
Oh, okay.
The first reveal of the answer for our trivia question.
yay,
I know that everybody's been waiting with bated breath. So just a reminder, the question is, what did we bribe the representative of the claim here in order to get the land in Denver? Was it A, whiskey, B, gold, or C, OG Kush?
I'm a little torn between whiskey or gold, but I think I'm gonna go like OG Denver Wild Wild West vibes with whiskey. Final answer.
All right, well, you and our audience made real quick work of that trivia question. 54% of the viewers out there agreed with you that it was whiskey. 46% said it was gold. Nobody thought it was Kush. That's weird. Anyways, one thing that every Denverite should know is the name Thomas Detour Evans. And even if you don't know that name, I guarantee you, you know his work. His vibrant murals are scattered throughout the city, bringing joy wherever you find them. And we're lucky enough that Thomas decided to join us live tonight. Thomas, thanks so much for being here.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. My first question is, you sort of rose to prominence with the portrait of Jay-Z that you did for the Letterman show. But I've read a little bit where you actually get more fulfillment out of painting everyday people, maybe people that they don't know about. I wonder if you could explain a little bit about who you choose to depict in your murals.
Yeah, so a lot of the pieces that you see around town are all about sort of representation and community and just painting people that I know. So painting people who work in the building where my studio is, or a friend and their child, or, just an elderly person that I talk to all the time. So a lot of times it's all about sort of representing who's in the community. And those seem to be the ones that people love the most, because it's something to where you see something so grand, but it's just an everyday person. So it gives them sort of the idea that everyone has purpose and everyone has meaning.
Well, and as we see one of your murals going up right now, I mean, it's just so powerful. But you also deal in so many different mediums. I remember being struck by the 5-pointers, where it's basically a Graceland-like exhibit from a band in the 22nd century, sort of looking back. I'm kind of wondering, using all these mediums, what are you trying to affect in your audience?
Well, most of my work is always about having a conversation with people. So I've done work where I have DNA testing sort of involved. So it sort of links back to the past, and then the 5-pointers, which you mentioned, was all about having that conversation about what Denver looks like in the future when it comes to music and culture and dance and art and sort of technology. So everything that I do is always about having that conversation.
Speaking of having that conversation, you're one of the few Black muralists in Denver. I'm just wondering how you've incorporated the Black Lives Movement into your current work.
So I do a lot of work dealing with representation, but it also sort of crosses over into the BLM movement as well. So painting people like the George Floyd, but also Elijah McClain, who's local as well. And really, it's been sort of great for me to sort of use my work as sort of a tool for change and sort of a beacon for sort of momentum and sort of just a message.
Well, we definitely look forward to having more of those conversations with your work in the future. And Thomas, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thomas Detour Evans, powerful, talented. You saw the late Anthony Bourdain behind him. Really great to have you on. Thank you so much. Now, in terms of sharing, we want to give you guys a quick reminder to take some pictures. We want to see your beautiful faces. Tag 5280 Scene. We'll get you on this program. Actually, at the end, we have a DJ that will perform, and then we'll get to share your photos that you tag us in. So we want to keep this going throughout the broadcast. So make sure to share. Now moving on to another form of art. We're talking about the Colorado Symphony, especially in the early days of the pandemic. I don't know if you saw, but they put together some incredible videos. Everyone at their own homes, but playing together harmoniously was just this beam of light in a pretty dark time early on. And tonight, we have the pleasure to share with you Colorado Symphony's performance of Valse from Tchaikovsky's Serenade of Strings.
You're so right. It's really hard to stay down with that music playing in your ears.
Absolutely. It's just incredible. So thank you to the Colorado Symphony for sharing that with us tonight.
Absolutely, and it even makes me feel good knowing these classically trained, refined performers are lounging in their PJs for the past 4 months. That kind of makes me feel better about myself.
I mean, you got to quarantine, chill out, right?
Absolutely. Well, let's continue with the music theme here with our second trivia question. I know you breezed through that first one, but I think the second one may trip you up. As you know, love him or hate him, John Denver is by far Colorado's most famous musician. But prepare to be shocked. Denver is not his actual last name. The question now is, what was he born as? Was it A, John Dawson, B, John Duschendorf, or C, John Colorado Springs?
Well, I think I know which one it isn't, at least one of those answers, but yeah.
Don't let trip you up. This one's not as easy as it seems.
Okay. All right, well, we'll tell you guys the answer coming up here in just a bit. But first, we talked cocktails, we got to searing halibut, but now we're talking naan bread. Have you ever tried to make it? Do you want to try to make it at home? Well, our friends from Little India, top of the town winners for Best Indian Restaurant, are here to share a couple of secrets with us.
The first thing you notice when you walk into our door is the aroma hits you. It makes you automatically hungry. From our veggie curry to our masala to our spicy madras, something you're never gonna forget, and you will be back for more. My name is Robert Yoakum. I am the manager of Little India Restaurant on Downing Street. I've been here for 18 years. So Little India was started by the Bedouin family. They moved here over 20 years ago, and when they got here, noticed that there was no Indian restaurants around at that time, and so they put everything they had into opening our first location, and they've just grown more and more ever since then. We are a Northern Indian cuisine restaurant. When I go in the kitchen, I know that I'm getting the real deal. Most of our chefs are from India, and this is what they love to do, and you can really tell when you eat their food, you can tell that they put everything they have. Their soul is in every dish that they put out. Naan is a traditional flatbread. It's crispy on the outside and soft in the middle. In my opinion, it's the best thing on the menu. We make a naan by taking flour, milk, water, sugar, salt, baking powder, and mixing it in a huge mixer and just get spun around for a couple minutes until we get this super soft, stretchy, smooth dough. Then our chefs use a really cool technique to make these perfect balls, and then it's set aside to rise and rest. We take the naan, roll it out, then we add all the fun stuff. We have a wonderful variety of toppings that you could put in or on your naan. The most popular tend to be garlic and cheese, which are my favorite. And then it is cooked in a tandoori clay oven, which heats up at about 900 degrees Fahrenheit. It's cooked on the hot walls of the clay oven. You can't get that taste anywhere else. It just provides a wonderful smoky taste that is just perfect to Indian cuisine. The last step is to brush it with ghee, which is a clarified butter. And then it is cut and then served. It's best when it's hot. It's a customer favorite. It's one of my favorites. I can't eat Indian food without naan. The coronavirus has really affected us just like everybody else. Fortunately, we've been doing takeout and delivery for a long time, so that's still up and running strong. We're gonna move the restaurant outside and kind of create a cool patio vibe, and you know, the food truck is still going. So we're adjusting, but we're gonna get through this. Winning top of the town, it means a lot to us because it tells us that we're doing something right. We all put everything we have into making good food and having good service. We are really grateful to the Denver community for supporting us for so long now. We really can't wait to open our doors and see you again.
Okay, friends, we've arrived at the time I think a lot of us have been waiting for, the reason why we're allowed to have this party every year, and it is to celebrate the Reader's Choice winners for 2020's Top of the Town. Congratulations to all of our winners who are about to show you, but also another big thanks to our sponsors for making this possible. I'm really just amazed by the amount of talent and all of these people who have put so much hard work and time and dedication into their craft to make this what it is. Denver, we're getting through this, and this is really neat to be able to take a moment to celebrate our winners. So let's take a look at the lucky ones.
For nearly 3 decades, 5280 Magazine's Top of the Town Awards have celebrated the very best the Front Range has to offer in dining, culture and nightlife, services, shopping, and sports and outdoors. From February through March, readers flock to 5280.com to honor their favorite local spots to drink, eat, play, and make merry by casting votes in our online ballot. Our ballot is a write-in format, meaning we don't provide multiple choice options for our readers to choose from. Voters can suggest whatever restaurant, store, person, or service they deem worthy for every category. And it's very simple. The businesses that receive the most votes win. This year, almost 50,000 votes were cast in 78 unique categories. Everything from the best new restaurant, that would be Restaurant Olivia, to the best place to see art, congratulations Denver Art Museum, to the best ski resort, Winter Park edged out the competition in 2020. You can view all the winners at 5280.com, and you should, because there's no better resource for finding the tastiest cocktail, that perfect pair of jeans, or their most rewarding workout in the Mile High City. Whichever category you're looking for, rest assured that the winner has won over your fellow Denverites through their own hard work and commitment to excellence. And for that, each and every one of this year's winners has earned our most sincere and enthusiastic congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, the winners.
78 winners total. You can see the whole list on 5280.com. I mean, this is just a really a big privilege to be a part of this evening, because so much has changed for all of us this year, and 2020 is nothing like we've ever seen before. But wanted to take a moment again to thank our sponsors for making this evening possible. That includes Citywide Banks, Prestige, let's make sure that I get all these right, Prestige Imports by Talent, Larimer Square, The Kitchen, Next Door, Portillo Wines, Denver 7, Occasions Catering, plus Stream Tech Productions for keeping us on air right now, and also for the set behind us, thanks to Max and Livy.
And as you continue to applaud for them, just keep on going, because our next performance is amazing. And not only will you be clapping out of appreciation, you're just going to be clapping out of straight joy, because it's amazing. Now, originally from Detroit, Edgar L. Page came to Denver as soon as he could, and we're all very, very lucky that he did. His dance company combines elements of jazz, ballet, athleticism, and I want to get this right, the Africanist aesthetic of cool to create, I mean, this is the most joyful thing that you're going to see in a while. Take a look. See, every wedding I've ever attended, I promise, I feel I dance just like that. It's amazing.
As long as you're feeling joyous and just kind of letting it out, I mean, you can't go wrong.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure you do a good job, Spencer.
Speaking of joyous, let's get back to your rampage here in the trivia contest. It's time for the answer. As you'll recall, we're after John Denver's original name. Was it A, let's see, John Dawson, B, John Duschendorf, or C, John Colorado Springs?
So we've been polling you guys at home, and I'm going to phone a friend here and go with the majority because it looks as though B, final answer, John Duschendorf.
It really feels like cheating. We didn't talk about these rules beforehand, but we're going to allow it. The audience was right. 58% for that. 41% for Dawson. 0% for Colorado Springs. I sort of like the balance of that. But
seems odd.
There we go. And speaking of winning that really matters, we've had our naan, we've had our halibut. It's time for dessert.
Oh, yes. Okay. Here we go. This is from Hira Cafe in Aurora. We've talked, as Spencer just mentioned, about the savory foods, but now this place is so sweet, you guys. They combine from scratch made desserts with single origin Ethiopian coffee. They actually won Top of the Town Best Bakery and Best Coffee Shop. Let's hear from their owner, Hewitt.
Baking is art and makes you creative, so I love that about it. But the main thing I really, really love is the taste. My name is Hewitt Salomon. I am owner of Hira Cafe and Patisserie. We serve breakfast and delicious desserts as well, everything made from scratch. So I'm originally from Ethiopia. We don't really have like a dessert after dinner or after lunch. Dessert is like going to a coffee shop. You get to sit with your friends and have a dessert and a cup of coffee. Coffee is a very, very traditional thing. It's a big part of our culture as well. So when I really trying to open this business, I was looking for a good coffee with this dessert. So I found Lucy Coffee, which is one of the best coffee in Ethiopia. It's very smooth, but at the same time, it wakes you up. One of my most popular item in my cafe is a vanilla bean cookie, and it's very light, very simple. So you take the sugar and butter and you mix it, a little bit salt and vanilla bean, the other secret spices. You mix that and you put the egg and you put a little bit of oil, and after that you're just gonna add the flour, and we pipe each of them, and you put a chocolate chip on top of it. When it comes out, then it will be like golden brown. The most delicious cookie you ever have. Once you take a bite, it will melt in your mouth. It's lovely when you have it especially with a coffee. It's amazing. So when people comes and taste it and they come back and I ask them their feedback, it's awesome. So that makes me keep going. I know that I'm not going to be a millionaire or making $1 million from this business, but for me, my heart is there. It's been 1 year since I opened. My business was doing very good before the coronavirus. Big part of my business was events, wedding cakes, graduation cakes, and so all of those been canceled. I almost gave up. I knew that I'm gonna close. I was so sure until 5280 magazine called me and they said, "Oh, guess what? You won." And I'm like, "What?" I was so excited. The whole thing changed right then. And I was like, okay, this was my dream. I have to fight for it. And I really appreciate for each of my customers. I want to thank them for the voting and for supporting my business. And I would love anybody out there to come in to try something very simple, can be delicious and can be delightful.
Everyday functionality. Iconic design DNA. Dynamic sports car handling. Why settle for either or when you can have all of the above? The Porsche Macan.
Test drive the Porsche Macan at Prestige Imports in Lakewood, Colorado.
I just love that story. I mean, not only are the desserts amazing, and I'm going there tomorrow, but also her willingness to fight during this really tough time in our city. I mean, it's just inspiring to us all. And somebody who knows a little bit about that is our next guest tonight, our very special guest who's joining us live, Denver Mayor Michael Hancock. Mayor, we can't thank you enough for joining us tonight to toast the top of the town.
Thank you, Spencer. Glad to be with you. Hello, Katie.
Well, it's been said so many times, but this era in the Mile High City is unprecedented. And what's it like to lead a major American city through this crisis and these challenging times?
Well, you know, Spencer, I communicate with, mayors all over the country on a daily basis. We have actually a block of us who are emailing and texting each other every day. And I got to tell you that we're all sharing the same stories based on our opportunities, our challenges, and our frustrations. Some are harder than others. If you're in a state where the governor's not aligned with you, it makes it harder. But I got to tell you, we're all getting through it, and we're all leaning on each other for support, sharing the best practices, and really encouragement.
Our July issue has sort of addressed these times and sort of looked to what inspires us. I mean, you talked a little bit about and seeing that inspiration from other mayors, but here in the city, I mean, what do you look around and see that sort of buoys you through these times?
The people and the resolve. So I was, we had from mid-March through late May, pretty much shut down, and I got the chance to see really 300 city employees who were not allowed to stay at home, but had to show up every day in the emergency operations center, and they gave it everything they have. They put in extra hours. Their whole objective was to save the city, and then to watch the people of this great city do what we asked them to do: go home, shelter in place, and to help us to get through these very difficult times. And to see the people do it, and to do it with such tremendous commitment to trying to help not only themselves and protect themselves, but everyone else around them. That gave me inspiration, and that told me we're going to be okay. We just got to keep working through this.
I mean, and also during these times, I mean, nobody is unchanged by it. And I think a lot of people sort of saw what you did as far as creating or advocating for an area for people experiencing homelessness in this time, and sort of saw that as a marked change. I guess I'm wondering, when you look around and you experience all the things that as a leader you're experiencing, does it change the way you guide our city?
It does. I think that, that's an example of responding with an extraordinary idea during extraordinary times. I think what we are slow to do is to acknowledge how extraordinary times are. We think it's a blip in a moment that it's going to change and we will get back to some normalcy. But I think all of us were kind of slow to realize, you know what, this is different. This is something we've never seen before. And that called for us to think differently about how we address the issues that we're all facing, including how we help our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness. So, yes, a safe outdoor site where we can test them where we can help connect them to services. And we don't have to have them sitting on our corners, on our blocks, where quite frankly, they're vulnerable, and we create conditions that are unsafe and unsanitary for them, as well as the general community. We can do a better job than that, and that's what we're trying to do through this experiment.
I think that's what we're all trying to do, is just find our best way through this. And Mayor, again, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight, for having us celebrate this top of the town.
Hey, Spencer, to all your winners tonight, congratulations to them, and thank you and Katie for the great show.
They won't let me have one until the end of the broadcast, so I didn't think it would be fair.
There you go.
I'll have
Cheers.
it for you.
Oh, what a treat. Cheers, Mr. Mayor. We have our wine ready to go for after this. So.
I can't believe that. I should have been ready. Where's my cocktail?
Carrie, hello. No, just kidding. So we know it's been just this unprecedented year. So many ups and downs for all of us. So many hard times. Business owners, families. I mean, I work in the news, and having a little bright spot here and there always puts a smile on my face, especially when it comes to small animals. So, segueing into our next segment, we had Spencer go to the Denver Zoo, where of course they had to shut down their doors early on in the pandemic, but the animals, they were still there. They were still hanging out, keeping busy. What did you find for us?
Well, what I found is away from prying eyes that animals are as, shall we say, busy as ever.
Okay.
So once it was safe to go back to the zoo, they invited me to meet all the new arrivals, and I was fortunate enough to take this tour.
No love letter to Denver would be complete without at least a few paragraphs given over to the Denver Zoo. And during the stay-at-home orders, we needed their furry, adorable faces more than ever. Here to talk a little bit about that is the Denver Zoo's Jake Cubier. Jake, thanks for having us.
Yeah, great to be here with you guys.
So obviously nobody wants to close the zoo, but it was the right decision. Tell me a little bit about what you did so Denverites can continue to get their zoo fix.
Yeah, the day we closed was an extremely tough decision, but absolutely is our responsibility to help keep the community safe. And we immediately started thinking, how can we keep people connected to our animals? And we came up with Zoo to You, our virtual safari, which was Facebook Lives every day, activities on our website.
Tell us what can Denverites do now to sort of help the zoo and repay keeping us through the stay-at-home orders?
So right now, the best thing people can do for sure is pay us a visit. We are a nonprofit organization in charge of taking care of about 3,000 animals, representing 400 plus species, and continuing our wildlife conservation efforts around the world. So certainly donations are appreciated. And as we'll soon see, and you'll hear about, we've got 2 little lion cubs that need a name, and we're doing a contest and a fundraiser to help them come up with a good name.
Yeah, absolutely. You're nice to talk to, but I want to go see those cubs. So let's go see what everybody's been up to. Well, our first stop here at the zoo is obviously the Benson Predator Ridge, where we basically sprinted to because of the new African lion cubs that arrived in April. And here to talk to us and tell us a little bit about those cubs is Keeper Andrew. Thanks for hosting us.
Yeah, we're happy to have you all here.
Now, I'm sure the stay-at-home orders had to cancel the Circle of Life coronation that you had planned. But what were their early days like with nobody here?
Yeah, early days for lion cubs are pretty quiet. So when they're born, they've got their eyes are shut. They're pretty much kind of fuzzy worms in the den box, if you will. So now that they're about 8-9 weeks old, this is when they're a lot of fun to have around. Very playful, definitely enjoy enrichment and different things like that.
Yeah, we could see that with them already playing with their brother, a year older Tattoo. How are they fitting in? Lions are such social animals. I saw them getting picked on a little bit by Tattoo. How are they doing?
They're learning the ropes of living with Tattoo, right? So yeah, like we said, Tattoo's almost a year old. So he's still a pretty young animal. He's still quite cub-like actually in his behaviors. In the wild, he'd probably be learning to hunt. He's probably in charge for a little bit here, and he could not be happier. He's having the best summer of his life.
And then they are adorable, they are playful, but they don't have names yet. Tell us a little bit about the naming competition you guys have going on.
Wanted to invite the public to help us name our cubs, and we're asking everyone to cast their vote to help us name them. As keepers, we can't wait to see what comes out of it.
Sure, it's a fun competition. We can't wait to see them grow up. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming down.
So our next stop on our tour at the Denver Zoo is to the Toyota Elephant Passage, where we're going to meet Denver's latest Instagram and social media star, Juna, the greater one-horn rhino. She came to us in February, but when did you know that she had Kardashian-level internet appeal?
So she hit the ground at 1:15 a.m. on February 22nd. Juna, her name means treasure or joyful. And that is exactly what we felt when she was born.
And then finally, I understand she's a huge deal because of the species survival plan, right? Can you tell me about her role in that?
Most of our animals at Denver Zoo, actually, if they're endangered or rare, belong to what we call the species survival plan. So it's a plan that actually matches genetic likelihood of pairs throughout the United States and that species up together. So Juna already has her own stud book number. There is a stud book keeper that does nothing but track the genetic makeup of all of our greater one-horns within the North American zoo population. And they're going to tell us which male in the country is best suited genetically for Juna when
Oh,
she gets
wow.
ready for breeding. So.
And I'm sure we'll follow all along on Instagram on this journey. So.
Yes, but don't worry, she has ways to go before she's going to leave us.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
You are so welcome.
And finally, no visit to the Denver Zoo would be complete without stopping by and saying hello to Ralph, the world's most gregarious emu. So tell me, are all emus as, let's say, flirty as Ralph, or is he special?
No, he is a very flirty boy. Partially because he's been raised around people his whole life. So he really enjoys people. He's usually right up front in the exhibit. Wants to hang out with people, wants to hang out with us, loves to get scratches. So yeah, he's a good kid.
Yeah, so much so that he had to be pretty bummed when the zoo closed, but you guys did something really special. You had fans reach out and send him messages.
Mm-hmm.
Did he have any favorites? Did he respond to them?
It's hard to tell. We're not even sure if he can see past 2D. We had our favorites though. We loved the videos. We loved all of the love shown to Ralph, who gets overlooked a lot, especially since he is right up under people. They look out and they see the ruse. They don't look down and see him, and he just loves people. So we're really happy that people love him.
Well, nice, and he's got to be pretty excited then that people are back. Well, be sure to stop by and say hello to Ralph while you're here, and thanks so much for talking to us.
Yeah, no problem, anytime.
Honestly, and all apologies to the mayor, that is by far the highlight of my journalism career right there.
You seem like you had a wonderful time.
I really did, and it's even inspired our third trivia question. And that's because on the Denver Zoo website, you will actually see a message from Peyton Manning, who has his own ideas on what those two cubs should be called. I won't tell you what they are, but go to him and check it out, and you can vote for him or against him. But our final question also involves a Super Bowl winning Denver quarterback.
Okay.
John Elway is basically Mr. Denver. However, he almost wasn't a Denverite at all. The final question is, what NFL team originally drafted Mr. Denver? Was it A, the Dallas Cowboys, B, the Baltimore Colts, or C, the hated Kansas City Chiefs?
I don't know. But
yes,
we have some time.
I've stumped her. I got it.
We have some time to think about it, and it is multiple choice, so we could potentially get it right. So we'll have to wait just a couple more minutes to find out about the answer. But Spencer, it's that time of the night. We're about to have a full-on dance party here and hopefully at your home. We are introducing Mr. DJ Groove, and he is just a blast. He'll be playing a set for us. Oh, he'll also share some of your pictures, so if you tagged 5280 Scene, they'll pop up there on the screen. Thank you so much for participating, and here, without further ado, is our DJ for the night.
Thanks to all the staff, Peniel, and everybody over at 5280, our sponsor, Citywide Banks. My name is DJ Mr. Groove, and we're going to get going right now.
that you want to go, but you could never turn. You turn off the stove. Too hard to control, too hard to let go. I could never be tied down, tied up. It's really how I like to get stuck. Could you get down? Could you get down? Could you keep it all up in a little box of secrets that you say to me? I never had to look inside, but you gave me the key. I couldn't turn the page, but now I walk across the sea. Maybe you could walk with me. Could you flow with me? No, no. Could you flow with me? Oh, oh, oh. Oh, it's about that time. It's about that time. No, it's about that time. Oh, it's about that time. It's about that time. Oh, would you take a minute for yourself? Don't put things up on a shelf. I try to put it into you, pour it into you. All of me is so food, so good. I'm cool. I'll just keep floating along. No, it's a different state of time. Oh, baby, would you read my rhymes? I wrote them in a book of lies for you. Yeah, would you read my rhymes? I wrote them in a book of lies for you. And it lies the truth. How'd that turn out to be? All of what you create, all of what you create, you can be. Oh, oh, let's be free. You never believe. What do you need? What do you see? Oh, what do you see?
All right, 5280, top of the town, 2020. My time is up. My name is DJ Mr. Groove. Big shout out to our sponsor, Citywide Banks, bringing you the best of Denver. All right, everybody, we'll see you next round.
Citywide is a great partner. They are collaborative. They're there to help you problem solve what you need. They're committed to providing solutions to solve your problems.
We know Citywide is already large enough to handle the size of our business, and it's large enough to handle the future size of our business as we grow.
We're building a bank that can help move Colorado forward, that can help support our businesses and allow them to grow with our expanding economy.
We're back. DJ, Mr. Groove, thank you. That was really fun. We've been kind of jamming out over here. We've opened up the bottle of rosé to have a nice little toast, but this is pretty much going to do it for us here tonight for this year's Top of the Town.
Wait.
Oh.
We've got the all-deciding final trivia question, which
My bad.
we discussed with the producers for tonight's program and decided that this is the only one that counts. You've got to get all three or none of them matter.
Okay, all or nothing?
All or nothing.
Great.
So just a reminder, the question was, who originally drafted John Elway? Was it A, the Cowboys, B, the Baltimore Colts, or C, the Kansas City Chiefs?
I really don't know the answer to this one, but I took a little time to think about it, and I'm going to eliminate the Chiefs. I think just based on John Elway's such a Bronco, I'm going to go with at least the mascot and the team that's closest to a Bronco. So final answer, Colts.
I can't believe you got there with that logic, but yeah, absolutely. Okay, you win. Congratulations. I admit defeat. And I also lost to all the audience. 50% voted for the Colts, 50% for the Colts, 40% for the Cowboys, and 10% for the hated Chiefs, which isn't a surprise.
Well, Spencer, thank you so much for bringing us these fun trivia questions, and a huge thank you to all of you, all of our audience, our readers, for tuning in, for participating tonight, and a big thank you to our sponsors. Once again, thanks to Citywide Banks, to Prestige Imports, to Vitalent, Larimer Square, to Portillo Wines, also the kitchen next door, Denver 7 Occasions Catering, and also to our awesome tech guys here at Stream Tech Productions. You've made this all possible. And finally, for our set design, Max and Livy, and a huge round of applause to all of our Top of the Town Reader's Choice winners this year. What a crazy year this has been just so far, and we wish we could have been with all of you in person, but this was, you know, a really fun and different type of enjoyable evening.
Absolutely, and thank you for all your support again. I mean, without it, I wouldn't have been able to visit the zoo and become best friends with 2 African cubs. Did you have any highlights from the show?
I loved hearing from Denver Mayor Michael Hancock. Thank you so much for being on here live. And the cooking, the cocktail demos, I mean, it's really hard to pick a favorite. Also, I love the trivia, so thank you, Spencer.
Well, and just a reminder that you can rewatch this again and again, because I know you're going to want to, at 5280.com. And right next to the video, we'll post a virtual grab bag of discounts and other really good goodies that you can get from our sponsors.
All right, I guess that'll do it from us here tonight.
Cheers,
Thank you guys
Katie.
for participating. We're gonna cheers,
There we go.
and then a virtual cheers to all you guys, to Top of the Town 2020. Hopefully we'll